In this episode of Bohica's War Thunder Favorites, I finally take out the Republic P-47. I don't know why it took me so long to take this plane out. It is personally one of my favorites. I think you can always have the argument about which is the better American Western Front fighter. Is it the P-47 or the P-51? I go hands down P-47 every time due to the stats. P-51 is kind of an American icon. It's a pretty plane when it's all shined up and everything, but this is a workhorse. I mean, this is, you know, P-51 might be a little like Stingray Corvette. This bitch right here is the city bus that's going to run over everything. So, give you a little bit back. I could talk for hours about this plane, but I'll try to cram in as much information as I can before we actually get in a dogfight here against the Japanese. This was a very, very expensive aircraft for its time. It's also the heaviest, and it's one of the largest, and I think you don't really respect how big this plane is until you see one in real life. And it's huge, and it's powerful, and it's beautiful. It's not a turn fighter by any means. She's meant to go fast, get high, die fast, and so on. The other reason I love this plane so much is it couldn't do the long-range trips into Germany to cover the B-17s. Like it initially, when it first hit the theater, it wound up doing escort duty for B-17s. That's not what this plane was really meant for. It doesn't have the field capability to do so. The P-51 took that role from it, and P-51 did a fine job at that. P-47 was finally freed up to be an attack aircraft, you know, go deep into Germany lines, and I believe that this is the plane from the Western Front point of view that broke Germany's back. Look at the number of sorties, you look at the number of air kills this thing had, rockets, bombs, napalm. I mean, this plane did it all. And I could talk for, like I said, hours about the service history of this aircraft. The skin that you see right now is a Gabi Gerbaski skin. That was a American-Polish ace. He grew up in Pennsylvania. He spoke Polish and English. He went on loan to the RAF for a while to translate for the Polish units that were there that didn't speak English, so he could speak English and Polish, so that made him an asset. He got to fly with the Polish pilots there who were very, very good at what they did, and then he eventually came back to the U.S. Army, where he went from a Spit Mark 9, I believe, either LF or just a normal F Mark 9, to one of these babies, and he said it's a comparison of basically, like I said, a sports car to a freight train, and he actually loved the P-47, but of course he had over 20-odd something kills with it. So that's the skin you're seeing right here, and that's one of my favorite P-47. He is my favorite P-47 ace. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing a little bit of side climbing. It seems like I got a little bit... The P-47 in its current battle rating either get stacked up against, you know, Ki-84s or A6M2s and A6M3s. It's kind of in that middle battle rating, depending on how matchmaking feels today. That's what you'll get, but it looks like I kind of went on the lucky side. The snail has smiled on me. It looks like I'm on the lower side of the battle rating. So we'll see what we can make happen here. This plane, though, like I said, it's an energy fighter. If you want to have success with it, you have to do a little bit of side climbing. She's kind of a dog at low altitude because she weighs, you know, it's literally a brick with a giant-ass engine on it. But once you get up to high altitudes, that's when the engine it starts running cooler, it starts running better, and at a certain altitude you can just hold down weapon, literally I think forever. I haven't had any issues with that, with the engine overheating after a certain amount of altitude. This plane in a dive in this game, I've had it safely up to about 503 mph. To reference you to that, a P-80 does about 550 mph before it kills itself. So this plane, she'll come at you, you know. So it has one really good defensive move, which is put the nose down and run away. You need altitude to do that, though, and once you burn that altitude, you're in trouble. So we have some zeros over there, and this might be a good chance to show off a energy fighter versus a turn fighter. You know, these two planes I don't believe ever met. The RAF might have had some in that theater, but I've seen pictures of the RAF P-47 that I believe was in the Pacific Theater. But anyway, there wouldn't be too many, but I don't know of any real fights. I mean, this was mostly a Western Front aircraft. So we're going to come in here. It's not true. Actually, I know there was some in the Pacific Theater because I've seen them assembled in the jungle. But let's see. This hero appears to be zoom climbing. Oh, this is delicious. Look at him. It's a helicopter zero. Okay, we send... Wow. Yeah, I missed there at the first because I thought he was actually going faster than he was. He must have been going like 13 mph. I could probably run faster than he was flying at the end there. Okay, free kill. That's a good start to this round. And we got a B-7A2 below me. Let's just hit the flaps. Alright, pull the flaps back in. I'm going to simply just chase him down and kill him. This is a really good aircraft. I love the B-7A2, and the reason I haven't really done a video on it yet was the PBJs keep harassing me. And, anyway, I actually do like this little aircraft, though, and fortunately, he's about to get 850 cals. Yep. 850 caliber ITs up his bum, so he's going to burn here for a minute. It looks like that Spitfire is going to try to get some sloppy seconds. Anyway, so I think this plane's... I don't think it's the sexiest aircraft. I do like the way it looks, but I just like it because of its lore, because of its history, because of the men who flew it, and what it did for the Western Front. And I also kind of picture it as A, was a great fighter, but B, it also in the later war became the U.S.'s basic. The U.S. did not have a dedicated ground attack aircraft. This plane basically became the IL-2. You know, Russia had the IL-2 for dedicated ground attacking. The P-47, what I'm trying to say, is eventually took that over. And you can go on YouTube, go on LiveLeak, and you can find a ton of videos of P-47s doing ground attacking. And it's you can spend probably an hour just sitting there watching these kill cams of just how devastating these 850 cals are when they strafe an airfield or, you know, get on something's ass. So I wish more American planes had 850 cals, I'm not gonna lie. It's a great, great plane. We're going to... Well, I've ran into a string of bots here. So, I'm American and I love buffets because, well, I'm American. So let's go ahead and eat this buffet of bots here while we're... Yeah, Okay. Yeah. Guys, you must love me this round. Look at this. And let's make some lions right here. I mean, this is literally like taking candy from a baby. If I can hit this one, that'd be nice. Any day. Wow, he's really... Henry's just being a son of a bitch, isn't he? Those are hits. In case you don't know, you're asking, like, is he missing? Whenever you shoot, and if... You'll see, like, sometimes visual impact, but that doesn't always mean you're hitting something. Like, the visual impact of where you're seeing the tracer go and hitting the aircraft, you know, if you see the round spark on an aircraft, it doesn't mean you hit it. To tell if you're actually getting hit registration, you're actually... The server is recognizing you're hitting something. You'll see, like, a little, indication on the actual crosshair that flickers. And that means your rounds are actually making impact. So, even though it might have looked like I missed some of those rounds, I was actually getting... Something was impacting it. It just wasn't doing its job. You can see right there the little, like, white lines around the outside of the crosshair. So in case you didn't know that, that's a little useful thing to know in War Thunder. So let's see. We have one bot and 2 players left. Might turn into a decent little round for Lions. I could use that. Jets has been draining the old bank account. So I'm gonna guess, alright, that Spitfire is chasing that A6 and 3, and let's see if we can come in here and help out a bit. That Zero already has 3 kills, so I'm gonna assume that he's a decent pilot. Alright, he is completely focused on that Spitfire. So let's come in here at a nice angle and we'll throw some 50s in him. I critted his fuselage. That kind of surprised he didn't burst in the flames. No worries. Hopefully the Spitfire, if he's in an okay shape, can turn around and take this guy out. Let's turn back and make another gun run here. Now this plane is pretty durable in game, as it was. I mean, this there's a lot of stories of P-47s being indestructible in life and real life in World War II, and the problem is that some of those stories are going to be the exemption. I've read numerous stories of P-47s taking a lot of damage, but War Thunder needs to find that balance of what an actual P-47 could take. I think the structure of the airplane is good. I mean, it's heavily armored. I think the radio could use a little bit more love. It's always had an issue where if you suck in something into the radio, it'll die. And the R-2800s were famous for blowing cylinders and oil. I mean, look it up. If you look up pictures online, it's great. Of just P-47s completely covered in oil that were able to still land. You know, it's a pretty bulletproof engine. I'd like to see the damage model of those R-2800s and some of the other countries' radials be improved. But that's a discussion for another time. But when this plane was first introduced in War Thunder, when I first started playing 1.29, 1.31, if any of the older guys are watching this, you'll remember the P-47 had this problem. It's like a gecko or a lizard. Every time it got shot in the tail would just fly off. So basically it was like a lizard losing its tail. Every time it was in danger, it would just shed its tail. And so they seem to have fixed that weak spot in the damage model. And the other problem with this plane was that it had horrible performance, and you just kind of lumber over the middle of the map and then just wait to be killed. And I'm glad that this plane has got some damage model fixes and some flight model fixes, and I think you're probably going to see some continued tweaking of this aircraft, and I think it needs a little bit later battle rating, especially the D-25 and the D-28. Those were a little bit later P-47s. Usually how you can look at a P-47 and tell if it's early or late is simply by the canopy. That's the easiest way for, you know, somebody to just look at it. You see the Razorback. This is a bubble canopy, and then you have the Razorback canopy. Let's see if I can take out this B-782 real quick. So that's one way you can tell the difference between when the aircraft kind of was in the war. But there's a lot of other fixes where they constantly did, either with fuel management or engine tweaks, little things here and there. So you'll see D5, D10, D15, D20, D25, D30, so on. Don't quote me on that because I don't have the build list in front of me. But every time they do like a D25 or a D30, all that number means is the build lot. So they'll build like X amount, and then they have an improvement, and then they build X amount, and then they do this and so on. So that's how they're designated. So I believe, you know, you're going to see things like, I know later on they put a bigger propeller on the P-47 to help it out, but you needed more ground clearance for that and so on. So there's little things that happen to P-47. It stayed mostly the same plane, it just had gradual improvements throughout the war, and then you'll see, hopefully War Thunder will, I don't know, the Bs and Cs might come in the game, those weren't the huge game changers. This guy, I'm kind of messing with him because I don't know what, hey, what's this killing? I'm trying to figure out what the hell he's doing chasing that bot. This has been a pretty easy run so far, to say the least. Anyway, so I'm hoping that, and this is one thing that P-47 Thunderbolt fans have been asking for War Thunder, is the P-47N to be added to the game, and that wasn't put on the US tech tree that they redid this summer. So they said they will. I'm waiting. I'd like to see that plane be added to the game, and I'd like to see some of the earlier D variants, the Razorbacks, be added to the game as well. I think that the Razorback P-47 should probably be in this plane's position, and then this plane should have a little bit higher battle rating. Like I said, though, the planes weren't that different, but I like to see more P-47s be added to the game. And just to give you an idea, P-47 was essentially like the US's 190, you could say. You know, and you see how many 190s are in game. I'd like to see a few more P-47s, because this is an iconic World War II aircraft. I love this fucking plane. I did not get him on the runway in time. I'm going to just fly away. He does have, like I said, even though I have 850 cals and I have a sturdy plane and blah blah and it's armored, I'm not going to go head on with a 0 of 2 20mm, considering that he's the last guy left and he has nothing to lose. I'm going to fly him more towards the Spitfire. Try to get the Spitfire involved in the match a bit here. There's no reason for me to risk it, especially at this point. Sometimes you got to get wins in War Thunder no matter what it costs, you know. You don't need to be greedy and just go head on. I probably win it. I'd probably catch him on fire or break a wing off on him, but I'm sure I'd probably be dead too, so I'm not going to leave that up to luck. I said though, I don't know. this plane, hopefully that continues to be flight model tweaked a little bit here and there, and eventually it'll get fully sorted out in this game. But if you don't know much about it, I really encourage you, like I said, just go on YouTube. There's tons of videos out there on this plane, real life videos of it in service. Let's see if we can fly a little bit further. Alright, looks like the Spitfire is going to come in. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and turn back since he's engaging with him. And let's see. This is usually the best way to attack a Zero, is have two people on him, because a Zero is going to be able to, usually, a good Zero pilot, which I presume this guy is going to be able to do defensive flying against one attacker usually. Because they'll just keep turning inside and has a really low stall speed. I missed him there. I'm going to keep flying straight. He's probably going to try to jump on my tail here. Yeah, alright. Put the nose down. Pick up some speed. He's shooting at me, but that won't last for long. I'll just outrun him. Hopefully that Spitfire will jump on his back. Like I said, you see me overheating a lot down here, and that's because it's all about... I'm just at low temperature. This is a tropical map. I'm at low temperature. This engine's going to overheat, as it probably should. When you're at higher altitude, it's cold, you know, it runs better. It's just the way the game's set up. Try to say it works better. I don't know. He looks like he took out the bot. This Zero is getting pretty desperate. He knows his time is limited, so... Let me see if I should have a good shot here. Last millisecond of bullets hitting him. So, 850 cals, APITs. That's what this plane's made for. I'm also looking forward to U.S. ground forces and to loading these things in my, I mean, these things are going to be animals when it comes to ground forces, hopefully, when it attacks player tanks, missiles, bombs, and so on, so... She's one of my favorites, for sure. Let's see what we got for a score here. I don't need the RP. I actually have all the American planes unlocked, so I'm just doing this for Lions and because I like to fly this plane. So, I got 7 kills, I believe. What were those? 3 or 4 of those are bots. I don't even fucking know what happened. 2 B-7A2s, 2 Zeros, 4 players, 3 bots. That's a pretty decent paycheck, so I can go crash some more Panthers in the mountains and have it paid off. So, if you know, P-47 though is honestly best with a wingman, doing those boom and zoom attacks and so on. Use it as an energy fighter, and don't give up on this plane if you're struggling with it. It's good.